What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. As you are probably aware, I'm building this audio control solution for my parents. And in a recent video, I used a brand new Raspberry Pi to demonstrate what it's like to unbox, set up the operating system, and add some software utilities to it. It occurred to me that, wow, before I actually take that device up to my parents' house, there's at least one more opportunity that I could use the thing for to demonstrate something to you guys that I've talked about in the past. And that is configuring the Raspberry Pi to function as a bridge, a networking bridge, giving you the opportunity to do things like inspect the traffic being emitted by your smart devices around the home. For example, if you have a smart TV with an Ethernet port on it, you can connect the smart TV to the Raspberry Pi and actually take a look at where that device is trying to communicate, what it's communicating, etc. So in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you into the Raspberry Pi for a look at the configuration, the networking configuration without a bridge. I'm then going to add 2 Ethernet ports to the device by way of this dual ported USB connection. And then we'll configure the bridge, and you'll get to see all of the behaviors of the Pi as I go through this process. So why don't we go ahead and get started? On screen, we've got the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And as I said, we're going to have a look at the networking configuration as it stands. So let me clear the screen first. It's going to do ifconfig. You'll notice a few things. We have our ETH0, that's the one integrated Ethernet port. We have the loopback, the standard TCP/IP loopback. And this device has wireless networking capability, so we have WLAN 0. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach from what you might read on the internet. I'm actually going to add the software necessary to do this first. So the way that we do that, we go here and we type sudo apt-get install bridge utils. Hit enter. We'll let that run. Now we have the bridging utilities installed on our Raspberry Pi. Now what I'm going to do is to go ahead and plug in those 2 additional, or that 2-port USB network interface. Which I've done. I'm going to clear the screen again. And now let's take a look at the networking configuration. Okay, so you see, let me do this a bit differently. Right, in addition to ETH0, you see that we now have ETH1 and ETH2. Those are our 2 additional network interfaces, along with the loopback and the wireless network. So now there are ways that you can add these interfaces, create the bridge, add these interfaces to the bridge interactively, meaning that once you restart the Raspberry Pi, they would no longer be in effect. Again, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach from what you might read on the internet. And I'm going to go ahead and modify the necessary configuration now to make these connections persistent. And the way I do that is by editing the networking setup. I go sudo we're going to edit this file. I'm going to add some lines. I'll say auto eth 0. We're going to say iface eth 0. Want it to get its configuration from DHCP. I'm going to say auto call it BR0. Actually, it'll be a little unique here. I'm going to call it temp BR0. We'll say iface temp BR0. We also want the bridge to get its configuration from DHCP, but we also want to specify what interfaces are members of this bridge. So I'm going to say bridge underscore ports eth1 and eth2. Also going to say, I think the syntax is yes, turn on the spanning tree protocol to help prevent bridging loops in the event that the interfaces are connected to the network in an undesirable manner. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to restart the Pi. You notice that we had a message indicating that we failed to start DHCP on all interfaces. That's due to the fact that 2 of them have membership in our new bridge. It also happens that they are not currently connected to the network. But those 2 factors are not necessarily related. Just thought I'd point that out. Go ahead and log in. And take a look at networking. And we see our temp bridge is now a part of our configuration. Gives you a better view. So we have eth0, which we've seen before. We have eth1 and eth2. No IP addresses. Again, they are not connected to the network, but the fact that they are members of the bridge would prevent them from getting direct IP addresses. And we now see the bridge interface as a part of our networking configuration. What I'm going to do now off camera is connect one of the ports on the 2-port NIC to the network. And what we should see is that the bridge will then get an IP address after a few seconds. We'll now go ahead and take a look at our networking. And you see that ETH0 obviously has an IP address. You see that ETH1 and ETH2 are still a part of the configuration after the reboot. We've still got our loopback, and we've got temp bridge 0. See that it is connected to the network. It's got an IPv6 networking stack ready to go, and is receiving packets from the network. Now, you may be asking, well, what happened to WLAN 0? The fact that I modified the interface's definition but omitted any configuration options for WLAN 0 leaves it in an unconfigured state. So it doesn't show up by default when I do an ifconfig. But what I can do is elect to display all interfaces. And we'll see WLAN 0 is still a part of the Pi configuration, just not configured with an active IP stack. So there you have it. I think those 3 videos combined give you a true sense of what it takes to configure a Raspberry Pi, from unboxing to having it up on the network to being able to communicate with it via SSH, and then ultimately configure it as a networking bridge. And I hope that's helpful. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you didn't like it, well, you can go ahead and hit the dislike button. Either way, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. I try to post at least 1 video a week. More recently, it's been 1 a day, which is pretty good for me, pretty remarkable. As someone who has a day job, not necessarily to, get motivated in the evening to create these things, but have been getting it done lately, and I'm pretty proud of that. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Make it a great day, and you will see me in the next one.